Living in Hawaii at a young age, I was surrounded by Japanese culture, had some really good opportunities to eat at good sushi restaurants and sit at the bar. Started making sushi in '96, was 20 years old. Made sushi for about 13 years, then moved to Tokyo. Got to train in sushi in Tokyo for a little over 3 years before moving to Seattle. I think my first day at the sushi bar was June 1st, 1996. I worked in between two of the owners, and that was my first day making sushi. I started with rolls, and then later on that day, they just wanted to see what I could do, and I made my first nigiri. It wasn't pretty.
I met Aaron back in around 2017 when I was traveling in Seattle. And it wasn't until 2018 that the idea came together to bring such a concept to Miami. And so obviously he was the first at mine. So I had made a good connection with him, and I think he's a master at his craft. You see that in every piece of sushi that a customer eats, as well as Nico getting into understanding the customer, getting to know them, and making sure they really, go out the door 10 times happier than when they came in. So these different elements, I think, are great synergy, and it makes what OMAKAI is as special as it is today.
OMAKAI is a stepping stone to traditional sushi. It transforms sushi beginners to sushi connoisseurs. We really take pride in knowing that we educate our customers with every single piece that gets brought to the table. Not only the type of fish, but also the origin and how it's paired with the saucing.
Part of my job is creating these deep relationships with all the fish suppliers. This is what really makes the product shine by itself. When we reach out to them and we explain our concept, what we're doing, what we're exposing the Miami customer to, they really buy into the story. They want their product to shine with us, which is why I think it creates that very unique relationship between us to make sure that what we're delivering to the customer is always at the highest point that it can be. We get our fish 1 to 2 days before everybody else does. These are fish that are being flown all over the world, so naturally it takes a few days to get to their final destination, and we really don't like distributors laying hands on our fish. We think that really makes a difference, and it makes the experience at OMAKAI as similar to having an omakase experience in Tokyo, but just at a more accessible price point.
It's 10 o'clock. Just finished up setting up our sections. So now we'll start getting into the preparation. Do some oysters, break down some fish, start cutting some kiritsuke and getting our mise en place in place, and getting ready for tonight's service. Ohayou gozaimasu. Oh, ohayou gozaimasu. Genki? Good, good. So we always check the quality of our product when it comes in. A good way to tell the freshness is definitely by the eyes, how clear the eyes are, and then also by the gills. You want a purple to nice red, it's very, very fresh. These guys look good. Yeah, beautiful. Great stuff. We like to shuck our oysters daily, sometimes twice a day. We prefer Pacific Northwest oysters. They're a little bit more plump and sweet. So we bring in from British Columbia, Canada, or Washington State, Oregon. Put the bottom side up so it looks nice and plump and juicy. Looks gorgeous, right? Whoa! Fresh. Prefer the people don't handle our fish. We like to take care of all of that so that they're not mishandled. We're really particular. The less people that handle the fish, the better. This is one of my favorite whitefish. It's a very oily, buttery white fish. So it's very rich, nice flavor. The more fat and oil, the more flavor. This is our bluefin tuna. We bring in the whole fish and we process the whole fish at one time, sometimes two fish. So I'm just gonna kind of explain the parts a little bit. So these parts on the bottom here, these are the belly parts. So the skin would be here. This is all on the bottom of the fish, just strictly the belly parts. They're super, super fatty. The leaner ones here are called akami. These are from the core of the fish, so like the center of the fish. And then the last one here on the top, this is called chutoro. It has a little bit of the lean part and the fatty part. The fattier part is sort of like an insulation. So that's the outside part of the fish, controls the temperature, right? So these are the three major cuts that we use: otoro, akami, and chutoro. Seasonality, I think, is a big part of Edomai sushi, which is what we do. When we're designing the menu or I'm thinking about the menu, I think seasonality is definitely one of the first ones I think about. Availability would be the second one. And then I focus more on the contrast and flavors of the fish to try to give a nice journey. For sushi, we use a premium short grain rice. We like to quality check everything that goes for rice. So we pay a lot of attention and really scope out the rice, make sure there's not a lot of broken ones. If you want to have great sushi, it all starts from the rice. If you don't have good rice, you're not going to have good sushi. Key to this is to not mix it too much and to make sure that the vinegar is mixed evenly. All right, guys, 5 o'clock. Every day we do a quality taste check with all the top items. 3 people check in just to get a good opinion. We do this twice a day, before lunch opening and before dinner service. I'm really excited to try the sea urchin. Right. I really love the fall and winter. Fish is fantastic.
Season. So walking through the door, we want to make sure that the restaurant is organized, that we're well prepared, and everything is ready to go. And afterwards, we conduct our pre-shifts. We have one for lunch shift at 12 p.m., one at 5 p.m. for dinner. There, we like to motivate the servers, motivate the back of the house team, make sure we review specials and anything going on for them, any events. Afterwards, that's when the magic begins, that's when the show begins. That's when we want to really take care of our customers. We really want to make sure that they're happy from beginning to end and that they're mind blown, not only by our sushi, but also by our service, by our ambience, and by everything great about OMAKAI Sushi. Because we don't have a sushi bar, the servers are an extension of the chefs, and we train them to be sushi experts. They always know where the fish is sourced from, the texture profiles of the fish, and the shellfish that we serve and the other items. And then, for example, a great way of them explaining this to the customer is whenever, let's say, a nigiri or a hand roll gets served to the customer, they always explain to it right away so they can feel the temperature difference and the textures difference between each item. Every time a customer comes through the door, we know for sure we have a great drink selection, sake, wine, craft beer. The first step is always to understand their palate and what they like. Some customers prefer dry, some prefer sweet, some prefer a contrast with different food items. So that's always the first step, is understanding the customer, understanding their palate. And that's a great way to get the conversation going. Once we know what they like, then we can guide them into the different items that we offer. For example, if they prefer something more mild, something more floral, we have a great selection of Junmai Daiginjo sake. If they're eating something fattier, let's say the bluefin tuna or the wagyu, we can always recommend more rice-forward sake, more stronger flavor sake, but also different types of wine. I always recommend our customers to be a little adventurous. There's a misconception that red wine goes only with meat and white wine pairs well with fish or shellfish. But in essence, if you get a little bit of adventure, you can realize that all our items can go with a different type of food.
On our right side, we're going to start with hamachi yellowtail with scallions underneath. Middle is going to be a kami, leanest part of the tuna with some wasabi on top. Last but not least, you're going to get zuki tuna, which is going to be topped with some grated ginger on top, marinated in smoky soy. And I'm going to pair you up with some hakuto, some of our driest sake on the menu. It's going to pair beautifully with your food. It's going to have a couple of hints of white pear. Kampai.
Omakase boxes are pretty awesome. It really emulates what we're doing at the restaurant. We give instructions on the cover of the box. It tells you how to eat it by placing the fish inside the box the same way that the courses would come out in the restaurant. So you can go from right to left and you have the different dipping sauces to choose from. About 6:50, we're getting our first rush of the night. I'm gonna step in and help out with some nigiri for our OMA courses. And I'll push Leo over and help Giorgio out a little bit. Let's rock and roll. Okay guys, the next order that's going out is table 7. These guys are first timers. Let's check out the reaction when it goes out. There it is guys, look at that. Even after 24 years, this never gets old, does reaction. That's why we do it guys.